Hello and welcome to the Mum's Guide to Money. This tip number 18 in our series of 30 days of 30 tips on how to financially plan and prepare for maternity leave. So today's topic is, can maternity pay be split equally? So you're in the right place. If you're planning a baby, you're just sort of in that research phase, figuring out how much everything costs. We cover loads of stuff that's relevant, even if you're not expecting yet. And you're just in that research phase and gathering information. Now, you might already be expecting, and if you are, congratulations. I know it's very confusing. Been there myself, not quite know what's what. And if you've never sort of had to deal with someone who's going on maternity leave at work before, it can be very overwhelming because there's lots of confusing policies always at work, and they're all a bit clinical, not quite what you really want to know. So all of these videos that I record are all relevant for you. Now, you might already be on maternity, and if you are, well done for taking the time to watch these videos, because I know you're probably very busy. Now, you probably might not have really made a financial plan for maternity leave. The money's going to run out soon, not quite sure when, bit on eggshells, not quite sure when you're going to start struggling for money. Now, the good news is it's never too late to make a plan. So if you don't really have a plan, all of the stuff that I do in my videos, my book, etc., all relevant for you. So what are we talking about today? So today we're talking about, can maternity pay be split equally? So can I get the same amount each month rather than sort of the really unusual way that maternity pay is traditionally paid? So I'm Charlene. I'm the author of The Mum's Guide to Money, which is my book here. It's sort of the outcome of my blog that I started to write in 2020. And everything I cover is around financially planning and preparing for maternity leave. So, can maternity pay be split equally? So let's, as always, recap on what the actual rules are of maternity pay. So maternity pay is the amount of money you get when you're on maternity leave. Is for employed women, and you do need to qualify. So not talking about that today. It's covered in plenty of my other videos. But if you qualify for maternity pay, that is, it starts sort of on the same day that your maternity leave starts, and generally finishes after 39 weeks. So this is something that comes as a bit of a shock to people. Don't quite realise that maternity pay and maternity leave, they're not the same thing, and they don't actually run for the same amount of time, which leaves you in quite a predicament towards the end of maternity leave. So first of all, we get 6 weeks of maternity pay at a higher amount. So it's typically paid at 90% of your average weekly earnings. Some places will pay you just on your average weekly earnings. So it's pretty much full pay for 6 weeks. So that first week, 6 weeks of maternity pay, that's what you're going to get. Then for the next 33 weeks, you will get around £151 of maternity pay. So that's 39 weeks of pay during that time of maternity leave. However, then we go into this last 13 weeks of maternity leave. And as you guessed, it's unpaid. So we've got a bit of a mismatch there. So we've got sort of 52 weeks you can be away from work on maternity leave. However, you're going to get paid for a maximum of 39 weeks of those. And as you can see, at the start, you're going to get a lot higher, and then it's going to drop away significantly. If you're used to a really high pay, you're then sort of on week 7 going to drop away to £151 a week, which is not a lot. So how is maternity pay paid? So there's no legal requirement for employers to pay maternity pay in any other pattern other than what we've just talked about on this slide here. So traditionally, you would get normal pay for 6 weeks, then it would drop, and then in your next pay, you start to get these smaller amounts. So traditionally, that's how you would get paid. And there's nothing to say that your employer has to pay you in any other pattern other than that. But lots of companies now are offering an equal instalment maternity pay. So rather than getting that huge payment at the start for 6 weeks, they're getting it sort of averaging it over the period. So again, they don't have to do it, but you could ask for your maternity pay to be paid equally in monthly instalments, and just help smooth things out a bit, because otherwise you've got this peak at the start where you're going to get a lot more money and then it's going to drop off very sharply. Coincidentally, just as all of your costs will start to increase and you start to need to buy more things for the baby and so on. So if you wanted to do this, always make sure that you write to HR or to Payroll, whoever does your pay, to make sure that it's dealt with properly. As with all these things, don't leave it just to one person to sort it out for you. It's worth noting, I'm just going to flick back. It's worth noting, if you do ask for your maternity pay to be paid equally, there are some risks around it. So, it doesn't take into account if your maternity leave runs over a financial year when the rates increase, etc. So, make sure that, you're fully informed if you do ask for this to happen. So like I said, get it all in writing, make sure it's acknowledged by your payroll team or the person who does your pay or the company owner or whoever it is. Don't just leave it with one person and hope for the best. And always chase them and get it acknowledged in writing back to you. So I hope that's been helpful. It's just one of the many tips I cover in my book. Links are in the comments. I'm not going to go through too many more of the things in the book today. Links are in the comments. Pop on over to Amazon, get your own copy. Obviously, buy a Kindle version, can be with you, pretty much immediately. Once you've got your copy, head on over to my website where you get your freebies. So you get your budget calculator and your planner. So very, very useful tools to help you do the activities in the book, get your budget together, loads and loads of checklists, planners, places to scribble, everything you could imagine to make your life easier. So I hope that's been helpful. Thanks for watching. Come back tomorrow for more of my maternity leave planning tips. In the meantime, you can find me on the usual social media places or head on over to my website and get your free stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.